annual corporate meeting. I'd like to first start off by thanking Carol. I don't see her here. She'll be here probably at the second service, but she put together this report that you all have, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of work that goes into that, so we certainly thank her for her efforts and diligence in getting this done for us every year. To set the tone, I'd like to start off the first section on there. You'll see we have our mission statement, and I'd like to have everybody join me in reading that, and then I'll summarize the report by hitting the high points. Won't read the entire thing. You can go through it in detail at your own time and pace, but I'll highlight certain events that occurred throughout the year. So if you please join me in reading the mission statement. Cheshire Evangelical Lutheran Church, a congregation of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, called by Jesus Christ to go to all peoples everywhere and make them disciples, is a community that proclaims the gospel as it reaches out to the people. Empowered by the grace received through the word and sacraments offered in our worship life, we are committed to nurturing the faith and service of our members. In our life together, we are encouraged and strengthened as witnesses to our Lord. Therefore, we share our finest gifts and welcome others into the fellowship around the gospel. The first section, We Come and We Go, is reported by Pastor Rowald. As you can see in here, in 2022, we began with 499 baptized members. 2023, we have 505, so we've had a gain of 6 baptized members. We had 425 confirmed members in 2022, and as you can see, we've increased to 433, an increase in 8. So we're trending in the right direction there, and we hope that continues. The next section, We Live the Faith Via Our Works of Mercy. Social Welfare Deacon Nancy Engelhardt. And thank you, Nancy. As you can see on here, there are several social activities that we take into and groups that we support. Local food pantry, Super Bowl of Caring. This year we gave 292 cans, thanks to all your generosity. Support for Ukraine, $1,680 was sent. Blanket Sunday, the Orphan Grain Train we continue to support. Lights of Hope, this year was the last year of Cheshire Lights of Hope, and we're happy to support that once again. I think we've supported it every year since it began. Feed the Northeast, baskets, Thanksgiving baskets. We continue to support the Hope Pregnancy Center. And the Worldwide Ministries, Nancy reports that throughout the year we have supported many causes and social programs as part of our worldwide ministry. She lists about a dozen different organizations that we were pleased to be able to support. The next section, We Share Christ with Others. Marilyn Miller is our evangelism deacon, and as you can see in there, she's been quite busy. Marilyn has a bunch of subcommittees, many different people who support this particular category. This year they began sending cards to members for birthdays and anniversaries. I think many of us have probably already received. I know I have, and it's kind of nice to get there and have people thinking. They began sending cards to members who are either temporarily or permanently are unable to attend church, letting them know that we're thinking of them also. If you know somebody that's you think should be receiving a card and they're maybe not, then please bring that to Marilyn's attention, and she'll take care of getting them added to our distribution lists. This year they held a Mother's Day brunch assisted by Pam Clark, getting us set up, and I understand that was a very nice event, very well attended and appreciated. Held a coffee hour on November 12th for Veterans Day, honoring our veterans. They also continue the Getting to Know Our Members section of the Heavenly Herald. I think you all, if you read through the Heavenly Herald, it's a very nice article that comes in there. It gives a lot of information about different members. I know I enjoy reading them. Kind of on the topic of Heavenly Herald, it's not a topic in a standalone topic in our report, but I'd like to take the time to thank Beth Sulier. She generally attends the second service, but Beth, month after month after month, for as long as I can remember, has put this document together. And I think if you've ever seen them at other churches and everything, in comparison, I don't think anything holds up to what Beth puts together here. So thank you to Beth on that. If you happen to see her on there, you maybe let her know what you think of her work there. This year, they sent 15 plates of cookies and Christmas cards to our shut-in members. This is very important that we continue evangelism to our members. These are people who, some of them for much of their lives, attended our Sundays week after week, and now for health reasons or other reasons are unable to attend, and this lets them know that we're thinking of them. Some of our congregants, as they move away, they've been giving them mugs to remember us by when they drink their morning coffee. Quilts of Valor, they've given over 50 quilts to veterans, and I can tell you, as a veteran myself, I received one of these, and they're really a high-quality quilt, very patriotic. I almost feel guilty to cover myself up with it. I feel like it should be on a wall somewhere, but I was ordered that I better use it, so I tried to do that. But anyway, I think this is a good outreach program. As you see, 50 people, and these are not people that are all within the church. They're veterans that come to their knowledge. So the scholarship program this year, we did not have any applicants for the scholarship. The plan is next year to issue an offer out 2 scholarships. So hopefully that'll happen, and we'll have some of our high school students within the eligibility categories that will be able to apply for those. We participated in the Fall Festival, and the Evangelism Committee has been giving gifts of the Lutheran prayer book to our confirmands. Next section, we keep order in our house, as reported by Recording Secretary Vicki DiPaolo. Vicki reports that we currently have 42 members, voting members on our voters' assembly. I'd like to encourage you, and in my article in the Heavenly Herald this current month, I put some words about the voters' assembly. Something to consider. It's something that everybody over the age of 18 that's a confirmed member of the church, could do. Only thing I say is that think about it prayerfully and give commitment to it, because if you sign on and you become a voter, authorized voter, then we really need you to be attending the meetings. Otherwise, it hurts our ability to establish a quorum. So it has to be something that you really commit to. Vicki also lists the dates of our upcoming voters and council meetings for 2023, so you can look through that when you have your time. We keep our building and property in good order, as reported by House and Grounds Deacon Todd Plantier. Todd likes to thank Andy for helping as he continued the transition of our lighting here within the sanctuary. Finished that project. It was one that started when Andy was our House and Grounds Deacon. Todd continued the indoor cleanup there. He'd like to thank the Druss for setting up and taking care of the waxing and cleaning of the fellowship hall and Little Cherub's floors. The sanctuary stained glass windows you see to our front and rear, that was one of our major projects this year. The windows were sanded, caulked, and painted. Some of you may have come by and seen the scaffolding when it was out there. A very important project, as this needs to be continued in good shape for many years to come. Another big project that was just recently completed, some may have noticed or not, that one of the crosses had fallen down during a storm on our cross garden out here. That was redone, and thankfully it was redone really with the funding of a directed offering that came in anonymously and paid for the whole job. So we thank whoever that was, and we thank the support of our generous members. We instruct in faith, as reported by Education Deacon Craig Wilson, and Tricia Rowald contributed. She has been the superintendent for about 2 years now, and from January to June and September through December of 2022 at in-person Sunday school. We're able to do that as we come out of COVID, so happy to be back doing that. They also participated in the Christmas program and put on a nice display there. She lists all the teachers and support people that she has in there, so please look through there and take the time to say thank you to these people who are taking care of our youngest members. From January to December, they sent out Christmas cards for our birthday cards to the Sunday school members, so we thank them for that. Vacation Bible School, this is a topic that really is a great outreach program to the community. As you can see in here, Tricia reports that it was an amazing week. We had 70 students registered, 20 pre-K and 50 elementary. So that's 70 people there. She also goes on to say that she would like to thank our amazing volunteers from decorating through cleanup. We had over 33 volunteers, 18 of them teens, which is really a great thing. The teens can really relate to them, add a lot of energy to the program. So you sit there and you do the quick math on that. The 70 students, 33 volunteers. There's over 100 people involved in this program through the week. So it's really a great time for outreach, and hopefully 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 of those people wind up coming here to Cheshire Lutheran Church at some point. Kristen Dunewald is our Little Cherubs preschool advisor, and Kristen reports that we currently have 9 3-year-olds and 6 4-year-olds enrolled in the program. So we're still going strong there, and we hope to continue that. That's another one that we hope turns into an outreach program, as we hope that some of these parents of these children may consider making Cheshire Lutheran their religious home. Kristen also states that God continues to bless Little Cherubs with our talents of our director and head teacher, Joanne Holstein, as well as newcomers Michelle Garassi and Alexandria Thomas. Hopefully I said Michelle's name right. But forgive me if I didn't. The next section, we gather in Christian fellowship. Fellowship Deacon Pam Clark, who is here this morning. Pam is a very busy year. Pretty much just about every month something was going on. You can see the list here. I'll highlight a few of them. The Lenten soups that we do during the season of Lent. Easter brunch, Mother's Day brunch, progressive socials, had a couple of those. The annual picnic that we all enjoy. Apple picking. They also did a special coffee hour to thank the Dress family for their generosity and support that they provide to Cheshire Lutheran over all these years. The Advent Jubilee we recently had, and the youth Christmas pageant, Pam hosted a reception for them afterwards with her committee. We worship our Lord as reported by worship deacon Tim Wayland. Tim reports that pre-COVID we had about 122 attending our 2 service Sundays, and after COVID it went 43, it went up to 62, it went up to 88. So we hope that that continues to trend upwards as we come out of COVID. We're not totally away from it yet, but we're getting there. The 1 service Sundays, pretty similar along lines on there, and you can read those. Average taking communion was 71. And Tim adds that he would once again like to thank all of those who volunteer to help make the worship service more meaningful. This includes ushers, the altar guild, acolytes, readers, altar assistants, live stream operators, choir, and those who serve in a variety of other ways. He says that there is always a need for additional help with these duties. Please consider of your time and talent. I'd like to add, Tim is not here this morning. He may be in for the second service, but see Tim, kind of thank him for his service. Tim has completed his time as worship deacon, and in the second service today, April Slauson will be installed as the new worship deacon. But Tim really deserves a lot of thanks on there. I think as we think back to COVID, think back to all the tape on the floors and all the separations and the distancing, everything that went into that. From week to week to week, Tim always made sure that everything was ready here. He had the people in to help run the church and all that, do what needed to be done. But at the same time, probably from week to week to week, he didn't know what the new rules might be. Because as we all know, every time you watch TV, CDC was putting out something different. So Tim had to deal with all that. So we thank him for his service. The next section, Cheshire Lutheran Women of the Church. This organization provides women with an opportunity to express their Christian faith through fellowship and service to others. Karen Whelan leads this group as the president. Lynn Balish is their treasurer, and Margie Mertz is secretary. If you're interested in that, then please see one of them. Some of the activities they did this year: ladies' night out, apple pie workshop, greeting card sales continues on, and they have charitable giving through their fundraising events. You can read in here some of the organizations they've donated to. Our youth deacon, our youth report, as submitted by Andy Clark, who will be installed this afternoon, or second service also. The youth group had a busy year, really preparing for the National Youth Gathering, and there's a summary of things in here. I'll highlight a couple of them. The chocolate treat sales. The congregation did a free will offering of $477 that went towards that. Big event that they had was June 18th, a tag sale. This was, they'd like to thank Bill Sulier and Tricia Rowald for their help in setting that, and several others who volunteered to help set up. Through this event and others, mainly this was the big fundraiser. They were able to completely fund their trip to Dallas, Texas, or Houston, Texas, without having to dig into any other funding sources. And this all culminated with July 9th through 13th. 3 youth, Emma Finger, Michaela Rowald, and Sarah Rowald, all attended the National Youth Gathering. It was a really great event down there. November saw a change as youth deacon Lisa Muller had to step down for personal reasons, and Andy Clark was gracious enough to step in there for us. He was appointed by the council and finished out the year on there, and they had a couple of events head on to there. Andy would like to thank Lisa Muller for her work on that, and Andy looks forward to a good year of getting more involvement from the middle school and high school students. So if you have any kids out there that you can send that way, strong arm them into attendance. Andy would like to see them. Given of the time, talent, and treasure, a joyful responsibility for all Christians, as submitted by Rob De La Belle, our stewardship deacon. Rob reports that our financial giving is strong, that as of December 31st, we had 102% of our mission plans. This is great on everybody. This is a reflection on each and every one of us that are sticking to our commitments. Speaking of our commitments, we received 49 pledge cards for 2023. As a comparison, he says at this point we had 64 last year. If you still have your card, don't have to feel guilty about putting it in. Throw it in the plate. Give it to Carol in the office. Mail it in, however it goes. But this really helps in the mission plan to gauge what direction we're heading in. We had 29 new expressions of interest in getting involved, so that's great across the board. CLC, the next category, CLC Wellness and Safety, as presented by Pastor Rowald. As you know, at the beginning of this year, we were all sitting down here. Now I look and I don't really see any, I see 1 or 2 masks out there, but this time last year, you'd have seen all masks out there. So we kind of went through that process. The Wellness and Safety Committee was busy monitoring CDC guidelines and such. In early spring, they recommended to the council that we make masks optional. The council approved that and went on in. Then around May, they looked at easing the majority of the rest of the restrictions that we had, and we went on from there. And he reports also that the Wellness and Safety Committee will be meeting shortly, and they continue to monitor this and other issues. A word from our Vice President, Bill Soulier, and winding up here, so I'm getting down there. So hang with me. We'll get through this quickly. Bill Soulier, fairly short section. I'll just go ahead and read off what he has here. He says, as Vice President of the church, one of my duties is to head the Finance Committee. Our major task is to create the yearly mission plan. This year's plan is contained in the annual report. You'll see it towards the back pages of this document. Every year, the Finance Committee diligently works to formulate and balance the mission plan, and this year was no different. Our council president, treasurer, financial secretary, stewardship deacon, and Christian Growth Fund deacon are all a part of this committee, and Bill would like to thank them for their dedication and expertise. Next section, we keep accurate records of offerings of money. This is Financial Secretary Alan Santoro submits. Alan submits monthly reports that are given to the council and the voters for review and approval. Alan has a few reminders and requests in there, most of them dealing with our envelopes, asking that you use the envelopes if you get behind because of vacation, illness, whatever reason, that rather than to use several envelopes, just put all into one envelope. He asks that you put your amounts on the outside of the envelope. So again, you can read through that. Our offerings of income and outgo, as reported by our treasurer, Bill Sherman. Bill also submits financial statements prepared monthly that are submitted to the council and the voters for approval. And again, those are attached at the back of this document. A couple things to highlight on here. We had the expense of $3,475 in December, just recently here, for the reinstallation of the exterior crosses, and this was fully funded, as I said earlier, with a donation that was included as a direct offering. So again, we thank you for that. And take a look at them when you go on by. If you hadn't noticed, it's easy to ride on by because you're used to seeing them there, but take a look. They really look nice. They look like they're brand new, but they're actually the existing crosses just kind of refurbished, and I think we'll be good for the next 10 or 20 years there, hopefully. So what they really did was the crosses are no longer in the ground. Now they're on a spike that they're mounted to, which will protect them from rotting going forward. So it's a really good, little better system. Bill would like to thank Nancy Schweizer, who is here. So thank you, Nancy. Nobody really would know what's going on other than Bill pointing this out, but Nancy, when I think back to when I was president back in 2017, 2018, Nancy was also there helping. So thank you, Nancy, her dedication. These spreadsheets, these things there, Nancy's kind of the brains and the work behind all that and getting it done for us, and we thank you for what you do. Okay, the last section will be the Christian Growth Fund as submitted by our Deacon, Christian Growth Fund Deacon Dave Schrum. Dave reports that the Christian Growth Fund earning and appreciation across all investments was negative $26,088.38, resulting in a loss of 8.4%. That might sound like bad news, but when you look at what was going on out there in the economy this past year and what happened to those of us who may be playing around in the stock market or having investments or retirement funds and all that, that's actually pretty good. Losing 8.4% was not a bad thing. And also to point that out, as you'll see, I'm not going to go over the numbers here, but when you look at the numbers on here, Christian Growth Fund is still strong and a very good source of income that's there, kind of a nest egg for the church. Dave puts out on here that we can all be a part of the Christian Growth Fund. He lists some certain ways. If you have suggestions, to bring them forward to him. Thanksgiving, if you, as the person did with the crosses, if somebody wants to make a donation towards that, you can certainly do that. Planned giving, estate planning, things such as that. And in conclusion, I'd like to thank my fellow members of the council, the voters' assembly, and the committee members that do so much around here just to make sure that everything is done on a day-to-day basis for our services, for everything that we do. Again, I'd like to thank Carol, thank Martha, who's not up there right now, but we all know Martha and we know what she does, and she's another one that just continues to work there behind the scenes and get things done. I'd like to thank all of you for your prayers and support throughout the year, for not only myself, but for our pastor, for our council, our voters, and all that you do on that, and thank you for being here and staying here for this presentation. And last but certainly not least, he's hiding out there in the back, but we'd like to thank Pastor Rowald for all he does. That is goes so far beyond his pastoral duties and expectations. Thank you, Pastor. Pastor does a lot of things behind the scenes. Sometimes I might come in here to think I need to do, and he's already done it. And I think probably everybody on any committee could say the same thing. All these Zoom meetings, he jumps in and helps out with that. Technology, all these things, just really a blessing to have. That is all that I have at this point. And again, you have the reports, so you can go ahead and read through those. If you have any questions, bring them to myself, any of the council or voter members, and we can come back with whatever answers it is that we come up with for you. So thank you very much, and have a great week. So.